Conflict. We love conflict, don't we? Books just wouldn't be interesting if there wasn't conflict. That's why we watch TV shows. That's why we like movies. Without conflict, things would just be boring. That's why all you high school kids love the drama because of the conflict. Okay, we love conflict, so let's dive into it a little bit. First, define it. If you can't define conflict by now, I'm a little frightened. Okay, we've been doing it for a long time. We should know what conflict is. But if you need help, as always, you can click the link at the top of the page and it will take you to our conflict website, which is not loading for me, but you should be pretty familiar with this. Okay, so there are 6 types of conflicts in literature that are listed on the website. And obviously, you can't see them right now because that annoying little circle is still going around and round, but it will probably work for you. So, type in the 6 types of conflict that you find on the website to start, and then explain what each of those conflicts is so you know. Okay, all conflicts in literature can be added to these categories in one way, shape, or another. Okay, and when you can see them, you'll understand what I mean. Now, after that, read the 4 examples. Okay, go down to where it says actually example 1. Okay, example 1s, 2, 3, and 4. Type in, all right, what type of conflict the example is from the conflict types. Okay, the 6 major types of conflict in literature. Type in the conflict type and then explain the conflict and how it relates to the conflict type. So if it is, let's say, man versus nature, explain to me how this is man versus nature, or man versus self, which hint is an internal conflict. Okay, explain to me how this is man versus self. Okay, so that's the explanation column. When you have finished that, you are done with your work for home, and when you come in, you will be working on in school this part. Usually in number 4, usually in a novel, there is one main conflict in the text surrounded by several smaller ones. What is the major conflict in your book? Okay, so when you come into school the next day, you will immediately come in, say what the major conflict is of your book. Okay, you should know it at this point. I mean, usually it's written on the little blurb that you get, the little blurb about the book, either on the inside cover or on the back cover. So the major conflict should be pretty obvious at this point. Okay. Number 5 is important because this is what makes stories exciting and fun. Okay. If you read number 5, it says a major conflict is developed through smaller internal and external conflicts throughout the text. Identify some of these conflicts and explain how they relate to the major conflict. So, what you're going to be basically doing is try and find the other conflict types. Okay, the man versus nature, man versus self, man versus machine, man versus man. Type those conflicts in here, the type, give text evidence of the conflict, and then explain the relationship to the major conflict, because every problem that happens in a story is in relation to the overall problem. Okay, so if you watch the movie National Treasure, right, the big conflict in those movies is finding the treasure always. So all the little problems that they run into when they're trying to find the treasure are the little conflicts that add to it. They have the man-to-man man versus man conflict, where the good guys are fighting against the bad guys, and then you have the man versus self conflict, where they're trying to figure out puzzles, and then you have man versus nature, where they have to go through some dangerous parts of the country. I think in the second one too, they're in some rough parts of the country. Okay, so all those conflicts help and have a relationship for the major conflict. So I want you to explain that in your own books. Okay, if you're reading a book about a war, the major conflict is probably winning the war, but what are all the other little conflicts that are happening between the characters? Okay, between the character and his or herself. That helps to develop that overall conflict. That's what I want you to do in these columns here. Okay, so again, classwork under the black bar. Okay, so classwork is 4 and 5. Homework is 1, 2, and 3. Okay, 1, 2, and 3 should be done when you come in. When you come into class, you should be doing 4 and 5. As you read, you're filling out 5. All right, if you have any questions, again, feel free to message me on Google Classroom. Leave a comment on here. Other than that, farewell and good night.